They were outnumbered, outmatched, and never supposed to win. On one side, the most powerful empire on earth; on the other, a small army with no reinforcements and no escape. But in a single battle, they didn't just survive, they did the impossible. Because when the army of the Persian Empire landed on the shores of Greece, it came to destroy a city. What it didn't expect was how that city would fight back. The battlefield was the plain of Marathon, a wide stretch of open land bordered by mountains on one side and the sea on the other. For the Persians, it was the perfect landing ground. Their ships anchored along the coast, their army positioned with space to maneuver and the full weight of the behind them. They had numbers, they had experience, they had already conquered nations far greater than this. Facing them was a much smaller Greek force, led by the Athenians, and their allies took position inland, blocking the path to their city. Behind them lay Athens. If they failed here, there would be nothing left to defend it. Everything about this battle pointed to one outcome. Persia had the advantage in numbers. Its army was larger, more experienced, and supported by archers capable of striking from a distance. The Greeks had none of that. They were fewer in number, they had no room for error, and no time to wait for reinforcements. If they stayed on the defensive, Persia would advance. If they retreated, Athens would fall, and if they fought, they were expected to lose. This wasn't just a battle, it was a gamble against an empire. But saw something others didn't. He understood that waiting meant defeat, so he made a decision that would change everything. He chose to attack, not blindly, but with a plan. The Greek army formed into a phalanx, tight, disciplined, shield locked against shield. But Miltiades did something unexpected. He strengthened the wings and weakened the center. It was a risk. If the center broke too quickly, the entire army could collapse. But if it worked, the Persians would be pulled inward, exposed, vulnerable. This wasn't just a defense, it was a trap. And then, the Greeks moved. Not slowly, not cautiously. They ran across the open plain, straight toward the Persian army. It was sudden, unpredictable, and it caught the Persians off guard. Arrows flew through the air, but the distance closed too quickly. And then, impact. The two forces collided. Greek hoplites, heavily armored, shields locked together, against lighter Persian infantry. At close range, the advantage shifted. The Greek lines pushed forward with force, but in the center, exactly as planned, the line began to bend. The Persians surged forward, believing victory was within reach. They pressed deeper, unaware of what was happening around them, because on both sides, the Greek wings held strong. And then, they moved, closing inward from left and right, encircling the Persian center. It happened fast, too fast to react. The Persians were trapped, surrounded, cut off, and within moments, their formation collapsed. What began as a confident advance turned into chaos. Soldiers broke ranks, panic spread, and the retreat began. Back toward the ships, back toward the sea, with Greek forces pressing them every step of the way. When the battle ended, the result was unthinkable. A smaller army had defeated an empire. The invasion was stopped, Athens was saved, and for the first time, they had been forced back. The shock was immediate. For the Greeks, it was proof that Persia could be defeated. For Persia, it was a warning. This would not be an easy conquest, because victory at Marathon was not about strength. It was about strategy, about timing, about the courage to act when defeat seemed certain. But this was not the end. It was only the beginning, because Persia would return, stronger, larger, more determined than ever, and the next battle would be even greater. If you want to see how this war continues, how a small force stands again against overwhelming power, make sure you subscribe, because the next clash changes everything.